Hello, Internet. Welcome to the Ghost in the Podcast. Um, I'm your host, Titania the Beautiful, and there is.
I am Alexander the Magnificent, and our
Uh,
guest star from We Revolution.
Is
God
me,
damn it! No, we don't
Eminem.
want to mention them, guys. Come on.
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I
Oh
think
no,
people know.
all
Titania,
80 people that watch this are gonna
I,
find out.
I think the cat is out of the bag on that one. Yes, it is true. I am the Weeb Revolution person. I am the legitimization of this channel on the internet.
I guess so.
Uh, I'm the cloud. I'm the that's why I'm the guest star. I don't want to be associated with this permanently. Although I am associated with it permanently, given the fact that I am an actual ghost in the machine.
I
So
mean,
Yeah.
that's just a term. You're not really like. Yeah, like your soul is in hell right now. This is just a recording of your
yes,
voice.
my soul is in hell, and that the name of that hell is
Don't
Data
be
Life.
silly. I had to take yourself from hell. That's how necromancy works. I had to
Oh
beat
yeah,
up
you
the
use
devil and take yourself
techno-necromancy. That's right.
forcefully. I had to take yourself from hell and shove it in a hard drive.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's how
guys,
babies are made.
guys. Turns out everybody goes to hell. Like, like there is a heaven and
Hell is
hell.
real. Everyone goes there.
Yeah,
Yep. Hell is real, and everybody is there,
yeah.
except me. I was taken out of hell
Well, I
to
mean,
join this hell,
ev-
hell on earth.
well, sure, but I mean, yeah,
So we today have 3 episodes. We mostly watched the entire all of Data Live, but we have
Mhm.
3 extra episodes we're going to watch. We're going to discuss today.
yeah. It's the
Did-
origami arc of season 3.
But we
Yes,
split the origami arc into 2 arcs for your viewing convenience. We're going to
yes.
call this the Terminator 1 arc.
Because apparently there are different rules. It's Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Although, as we were watching this, and as we were rewatching this, because of course we have to watch it multiple times to be on the up and up, it became clear that no, it's Terminator 2 all the way down. It's the fountain rules, it's no rules. There is no consistency to the time travel. This is about time travel, by the way. That's
Yeah,
great.
and funnily enough, time travel is is the most consistent part of this arc.
Yes, and actually, I disagree with Alex because Alex thinks, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this is a completely broken time loop and it makes no sense. I argue that this is still a closed time loop and it makes sense, but we'll get there. So, without further ado, let's start off and do our usual shtick. So, point by point, Alex, tell us how this story begins.
Our story begins with a flashback back to Origami, seeing her family die by a giant laser that also blew the city up. I don't care what the fucking light novels say. It very clearly explodes here in a way it doesn't later. But we'll get back to that. So her
Yes.
parents die in an explosion, uh, and we smash cut to Shido. Well, I guess we smash cut to her in the modern day. Then we smash cut to Shido waking up with his hands on the breasts of a woman who secretly climbed into his bed creepily while he was sleeping. You know.
And that woman's name
In
is the Queen of England.
my notes, I just write green. I just write
God,
green in my notes.
God, I wish it was Queen of England. That would be a funny sketch if like Shido just randomly woke up with the Queen of England in his bed. That would be like funny, and what happened
The
wasn't.
Queen of England
So
was a spirit all along.
Yeah, and sure, her
Why
power
else
is
do you
just
think
to
she
steal
lived
the
so long?
souls of the young.
Why do you think she
stop
lived so long?
stop giving this show ideas. Motonaga is like furiously writing this down. Oh, Queen of England.
I didn't.
So this guy didn't think about that.
I yeah.
I hope the Queen of England doesn't die. That'd be a real shame if she died because we're still recording this after we did our recording of Redo the Healer, of course.
Yeah. I mean that will be based though.
It
Yeah, I
would
mean
be
every single time you mention the queen, you have to roll those dice, right? Is she still
uh,
alive? Is she dead yet? Nobody knows. It's a Schrodinger's queen situation.
Yeah. Uh
it would be super cool if the Queen keeled over.
yeah. You know, and also if there was like an energy crisis and but the government spent a lot of money on her funeral instead on that.
Mhm.
Or
And
if there
maybe
was an entire war that started, after we do the healer.
Yeah.
yeah. And how shitty would it be if a war in Eastern Europe broke out and it impacted my internet severely and I had troubles recording or even watching streams? That would be
Yeah.
terrible.
Obviously, the worst part of the war.
Yeah.
Thankfully, those are just wild speculations that is never going to happen in the far future of 2020. Shit, when did that war start? 22 or 21? I don't know anymore.
I
Whatever.
think we
20,
started
20,
2020. We
22.
started in early 2021.
No,
No,
okay, whatever.
not
Doesn't
that
matter.
war. The other one.
The other one. Oh, right, the other one. Okay. The
Anyway.
lobster people, of course.
Yeah.
They rose from the sea and took Venice as their home base. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, we start with Shido. Shido is waking up with Natsumi, actually, green-haired witch girl from the previous season,
And she
in his fucking bed.
and
Yes.
she's in her buxom appearance. And like right away this is where the power inconsistencies start because they say that because Natsumi controls her power with her emotions, which doesn't make any sense because previously she just had her power when she was a spirit, right?
Yeah, and
And
her
then
power, and she seemingly maintained the same power level no matter what her emotional state was.
yeah,
And like when they were doing the fucking emotion screening that they do every single time to see like the attitude of a spirit, they failed to mention that their power corresponds to her emotion, which I think they would have at the time, but they didn't.
yeah,
So yeah.
It's
uh,
some rules that exist for this arc and only this arc.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and then but then like we also seen like normally when you see a spirit they just get their power back like 12 minutes later and it's not a problem.
Yeah,
But
and
then
it mostly seems previously before this arc it seemed to be a Boolean function. Either the spirit is sealed and doesn't have any powers, or is not sealed, is unsealed, and can do most of the stuff that they can do. But not in this arc. For some reason, the characters in this arc are specifically said to be much weaker than usual for no reason. Honestly,
yeah,
the reason is
There's a
never
reason
given.
for that, but we'll get to it.
yeah, but like okay, but like we'll get to that part. But like even if you are weaker after being sealed, that doesn't mean that you cannot use your powers with your emotional state. Like if she could use her powers
Yeah.
beforehand, even if she was weaker, she should be able to use them now. But for some reason, they're now tying it to her emotional
Also,
state.
I think, fuck, I just figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I figured out two things.
Uh huh.
One about the bi girl and what I think was going on with her in the writing, and also why the fuck this is going on. Which do you want first?
First,
The
I
bi
want you
girl,
to tell me. Yeah, first, I want you to tell me who was the bi girl.
Miku.
Miku?
Oh, Miko is not bi. She's straight. So I don't know what you're
She's,
talking about.
she's
Jesus Christ,
clearly
Internet.
bisexual.
I agree to disagree.
Okay.
She's a sexual predator. I don't think you can say that she has particular sexuality because she predates upon specific genders. That's not
Yes,
how
that's
sexuality
exactly.
works. I
Wait,
know.
I just
being a rapist doesn't make you not straight or gay. That's not how that works.
Exactly. Being a sexual predator doesn't make you gay.
Yeah, but it also doesn't make you not gay.
It does not make you not gay, which means it does not make you gay. Yes.
But it doesn't make you not gay. Is what I'm getting at. It could go either or.
Yeah, okay, but then you would have to have any evidence that she actually is gay, which you don't. And
also
sexual.
she's a sexual harasser, also not a rapist, but whatever.
Well, I don't
Uh,
know. Mind
she just
control.
lied to have had
That
sex with a lot of girls with her mind control powers.
mind control veers into the territory of rape. I would
What? No,
say.
wait. Well, I didn't know that, Alex. It was never shown in the anime, so
What do you mean? She tries to have sex with Shido when Shido's dressed up as a girl, and it's implied she does this all the time.
oh yeah, right.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
to be fair, I forgot about that part. Okay, no, yeah, she did do that then. Yeah, no, that, yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
but you figured something out. Tell us about
Okay,
not by Gail
so
Miku.
yeah, Miku, the definitely straight character. Audience, I'm rolling my mechanical eyes.
You can't see it, but he's rolling his eyes
get to your
very
point,
hard.
Alex.
Yes, before it drifts away. Quickly catch it.
Anyway, do any of you know about the show House?
Yes.
So there's a show with an asexual person on it, but it turns out the asexualness was a result of a disease. And when the writer was asked about this, like, hey, this makes asexuality look bad. It's like, well, I actually was trying to give like asexuality a spotlight, but because there's a medical drama, there has to be an answer to it. And I think that was what he's doing. I think from what I read of the book, he was like, oh, we should probably do a spotlight that being gay's okay, but I'm writing a harem series, so it has to fit in there somehow. I think that's what was going on with her. Also,
That doesn't excuse copious amounts of sexual assault, but sure.
oh no, that explains the author. That doesn't excuse things. That's explanation, not an
Like
excuse.
that's like that doesn't even do that because I mean that you can assume that, but you cannot know that. So I mean,
Well, yeah, but you like to assume lots of bad things already that you can assume but not know.
I
What's
don't. Eminem does.
well, that is
All
good.
the
That is
time.
evident.
I assume only the worst things ever.
Yeah.
Which from Mercury is not gonna be gay, and that's gonna suck.
I do believe
Wow,
that.
yeah, Mr. Mercury, that anime that won't come out for another year.
No,
Well,
remember, we get a first watch of every anime.
mhm.
Like
directly
all
directly
anime
from
has already been made, but we get to watch it first and approve
yeah
it.
directly from Motonaga-san himself. Just on a constant phone line, we call him and say like, "Hey, Mr. Motonaga-san, sama, we need more anime for the content. Give us the content." And he's like, "Yes, here it is," beaming it directly to the computer.
Yeah,
That's what happens every day, every hour. It's great.
yeah.
Anyway,
The
what was
uh,
the second? Yeah,
Flashback to
sorry.
origami again, and she has her whole DIM thing. And it cuts back to where we
Wait,
left
no.
off
What was
last
your
episode.
second point?
Uh, yeah, and you also wanted to say something,
Oh,
Data.
my
Sorry.
second point. I realized the reason why the spirits originally would have their powers sealed, and then that plotline would immediately drop, is he realized how much more boring that makes the story if he can't have his main characters have superpowers.
I mean, Alex,
That's why in the first book their powers are sealed and they can't use it, and then immediately afterwards in every other book they can use their powers no problem.
Alex. I just have to tell you like that is so obvious that I thought it didn't have to be said. Like
I to me that's a revelation because that implies that the writer of Data Life is so incompetent he didn't have any idea or plan of how this would turn out and just like started writing and then like one book in he realized holy shit about superpowers this is boring.
well, I mean, I don't think that's being incompetent if you just don't know about your story. But I think the way he went about it, just not acknowledging, I think that's bad. Like he could have just told everybody like eventually you get your powers back, but then
But
for
that
so
wasn't the thing when the first book was written. When the first book was written, he lost them. That's why
yeah,
she
but
told
in the second like things can change.
episodes, and
Like
then she has all of her powers back instantaneously.
things can change. Like you can put in like a crystal or something, or like just say that with enough time, spirits can get their power back, and it's not always the same time. Like there's a myriad of ways to like say
Mm-hmm.
do what
Anyway,
he
back
did,
to your
but he
feedback.
chose to not do anything and just ignore it.
There are
It's
myriad ways to write like an explanation into it and make a story better, but that requires a degree of caring about your craft as a writer, which this person clearly doesn't. So
okay, but like
So,
we're under the assumption that he does care to some extent. But anyway, um,
as you
maybe
all
you
know,
are.
I have read. I decided to read another one. I've read half the book for this arc, but the second half of the arc.
okay.
Okay. Okay, so okay, let's get back to the
Yeah.
play by
So
play.
it cuts to origami again. They cuts to the last episode, which means origami showed up in her new armor just to be menacing and leave. That's the only implication we can assume.
Kind of. Well, actually, that happens when we transition to the school. We were still in the room with Natsumi. So to
Yeah,
just get things going along, Kotori barges in and scolds Natsumi for being a lewd and lascivious and seducing fox woman. And then they have a big fucking argument, and that's where that scene ends. And it's silly.
Natsumi makes fun of Kotori's body because it's similar to her own body, but and not when she's in her adult form, I guess. I mean,
like keep in mind, she is explicitly the only one in that form that has an adult body. I know because in a future season, because I actually watched this show, we learn what most of the characters would look like as adults.
Okay,
well,
so
thanks for the spoiler, Alex.
but
I mean,
our
I
audience.
don't
But
care about.
this is actually very important. Actually, this is very important because we have to like we have to put this forward, and I want our audience to understand it, and I want it to sink in that every single like in this show, which is completely overflowing with sex jokes and just incredible amount of fan service, every single character who is a love slash sexual interest is a minor. And each and every
Well,
one of them.
the main character is also a minor. Like
Yes,
they're
yeah,
all
sure, okay. Okay, but like it's not so okay. The main character is also a minor, but this is not real life. This is a story. This is anime that you're supposed to watch. And the people watching it aren't minors. They're 25, 6-year-old basement dwelling neckbeards.
that is true. However, uh, I think there might be 15-year-olds also watching it.
I
I
mean, with
hope
this
not.
popularity, it'd have to be.
Yeah, they're around
God,
15/16 years old at this
I
rate.
really hope that the Gen Z and like the current generation of 15-year-olds is way smarter than watching Data Live, but what do I know?
I I mean, uh, yeah. I mean, it's just like there a generation. Like there can be many different people. I mean, I think you mean in general, like a larger population part, because
Whatever. Okay, and so that scene ends. It's silly. It's done just for comedy. Natsumi harasses
I think it's done more
Kotori
for
over.
fan service. But anyway,
It's done fully for fun service, but it's like comedic fun service. Natsumi harasses Kotori over her body, which is incredibly ironic because like the one person who actually has incredible complexes about her body is Natsumi. So like we're getting the incredibly evil Natsumi again, or whatever. This is a joke. This
no,
just is
I
forgotten.
mean, that's the point. Like that's the okay. So like, priority number one, fan service. Priority number two, comedy, and priority number three is the characters, right? And I think this is to show that Natsumi still,
Priority number 4, the plot, because it doesn't get fucking moving until season 4.
I would say priority number one, fan service. Priority number two, comedy. Priority number three, enraging the living shit out of Eminem. Is
No,
the
that's
least I would
priority. No,
comment.
that's priority 0.
That's priority zero. Okay, fair. That's
yeah.
priority zero. Make Eminem angry. Okay, we transition to
But
the
no,
school.
Okay, well, like
Yep.
Natsumi, like that needs to show that Natsumi still belittles people, like still doesn't like her own body. I think that's
And is still an asshole, which is the most important thing
also
here.
true.
Yes, she very much is still a bratty asshole and is just completely insufferable. I have no, but we're
she
gonna
get
get
away
to
with
that.
it because she's a nuclear bomb.
I
And
don't
we're
care.
gonna
I mean, I don't care because he was a quick enough scene. Like, but if it kept happening, then yeah.
later on this will cause us to ask incredibly important questions because this arc reveals like some genuine information about the lore and like background information about the spirits, and it just makes us ask so many questions because it just makes no sense, but we're gonna get there.
I mean, I don't want to say it makes no sense. It actually makes a good amount of sense with some reveals you get later.
Well,
But-
we'll get to
sure, but not at this moment.
yeah
Oh, at this moment, it makes no fucking sense.
we'll
Anyway,
get to
what
get
happens
the
next?
discussion.
So we cut to the school where Origami's missing because Origami's been transferred to England.
Yeah.
Yes. the teacher lady who I don't even remember. Oh no, she was a character. She was briefly on a date with Shido. She was a character like way back when she completely disappeared from the plot mostly.
Okay,
But
okay. What do you think? I think she's the worst. Like, not the least, not the most problematic character, but the least good character in Data Life.
I think the least good character in that is an interesting question. I mean, you already know who I think is the least good character in
Yeah,
Data
Miku.
Life. So yeah, exactly. So
But
I mean,
I,
morally, I still think she's the worst. Miku is again highly implied to be a serial rapist, uh,
yeah.
and a
yeah.
serial killer. And this
Uh,
just never
y-
Miku never really gets addressed for this.
you do kind of forget about it because they don't bring it up. But yeah, I mean, yeah, she did use mind control, and she did want to have. I mean, was it sex or was it like just
It's,
cuddling?
I don't know. It's just an intimate activity two people do after stripping off all their clothes
Uh, uh,
together in a closed area on a
okay,
bed. I
at,
wonder what it could be.
at best, she's a sexual harasser, and at worst, she's a rapist. So yeah, which is, I mean, I wish the only bisexual character wasn't that, but you know,
But thankfully, she's not bisexual, so it's okay. Anyway, we
I
are
swear
back at
to
the
God,
school.
at some point, I
yeah,
swear to God, at some
origami
point,
is missing
the
just like
god of
Joichi.
bisexuality is gonna turn out to be real, and Eminem's gonna go up to them. You know, the living embod like the bisexual devil, and
Uh-huh.
from Chainsaw Man, and every guy was gonna be like fucking straight.
Yeah, I mean, but, anyway, yes, Origami is transferring to England apparently. Now we have that little flashback. So apparently, in at the apex of the last arc, when the fucking Humpty Dumpty fell from the sky and threatened to destroy the whole fucking city, and the Bandersnatches appear, Origami just appeared, just cleared the scene, looked menacingly, and then left. And then everybody was like, "Oh, okay, that just happened. Fine, cool. We're moving on."
Origami's now in DEM outfits. I guess we should not question this.
Yes, Shida decides that it's worth questioning it and following up on this particular rabbit trail only when he's being told that Origami is transferring to England. That's the problem. And I remind you,
I have
audience.
some notes that I think you might have forgotten about Eminem when I was
Uh
rewatching
huh.
it earlier. So
Yeah.
when he's going on the rabbit hole, he goes to Origami's house. Everything's gone like she moved. But she didn't actually move. Where did all of her stuff go?
Good
How long
question.
was Origami waiting in the
Yeah,
dark on
I
the
was thinking about that.
possibility she's okay?
I actually wanted to ask that question on the show because here's the thing: Origami apparently ostensibly was transferred to England, so Shido decides to follow up on this trail, leaves the school, and goes towards to her apartment to check on her, and finds the apartment empty. And it seems that she did in fact move out, but this is just a trap. Origami has cleverly laid a trap on him in the apartment and captures him. But like this means she literally did remove all of her positions from her apartment, put them somewhere, we don't know where, set this trap up, and then waited for Shido, like, probably for days for him to appear.
Have we ever went to Origami's house before this?
Yes.
Yes, I
Okay,
think so at least.
Why?
I was gonna joke that maybe she's just a minimalist, but
No, she has a bunch of stuff in season
okay. I
two.
mean, like, but to be fair, like they're probably in the spaceship or whatever she's keeping Cheetah or a storage
What?
unit.
She doesn't have a spaceship. She's Origami.
Yeah.
Where is Cheetah being kept then?
She
Shido,
kept it in an abandoned building.
yeah,
Well, maybe
some kind of an abandoned building in the city.
maybe if you just go one floor below, that's where all her stuff is in the abandoned building.
Actually, but this is a good question. Why did she bring him to an abandoned fucking building in the city and not to a military base or to Westcott Prescott?
No, there's
She
a
might have
station.
to make a file and people can find out about it.
She
Oh
has
wait,
information
no.
for that. She wants to protect
Yeah,
Shido, so she's
yeah,
like, "Hey, Shido, just wait here. I'm gonna go kill all your friends, and then we can be together." So, you
yeah,
wait here. I'll be back after I'm done murdering all the spirits.
yeah. Meanwhile, while this is happening
He
in
specifically
the
doesn't take him to a military base, so Westcott doesn't find out about this.
while this is happening in the house in the wayward home home for wayward spirits, Miku is not Miku. Sorry, Natsumi is having a little bit of a breakdown because she is flagellating herself over doing this thing that she did in the morning, and she opines that she is a terrible person, which is true. She's visited by Yoshinon.
Wait. Speaking of sexual harassment, the thing that Origami did with the water in that scene, do you remember?
That hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about it. So yes, Origami appears from the shadows menacingly, talks to Shido, explains the situation to him, and initially she like offers to give him some water, but of course she's Origami, so the way she wants to give him water is to put some of it in her mouth and presumably kiss him and give him the water mouth to mouth that way. But of course he is Shido, an asexual goldfish mind of a person, so he refuses.
Now, to be fair, like the thing about like what's okay and what's not okay, it's also dependent on your relationship with people. Because like
My problem isn't necessarily that like, oh, he should definitely accept this because like, yeah, sure, Kelly. I'm just, my thing is that like, why would you be worried about this in this specific situation where you're being tied to a chair in an unfamiliar location?
they are
Is this
also
really?
This would not be on my top priority of
Yeah, is this really the deal breaker? Like, is that really the most important part of this
I
scenario?
mean, it's just been like he just woke up, you know, like it's the situation still has not fallen in. But what I meant to say is that, to be fair, they are boyfriend and girlfriend. Origami and Shido. So it's not that bad, but it's still bad because
Yes, that is what I wanted to point out to
dating
the
someone
audience.
doesn't give you. Wait, do you think dating someone gives you permission to kidnap them and it's fine?
no, but it's if my boyfriend touched my boob or if a stranger did it, it will be different.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah,
this
but
is
I
a,
think
this is
it'd
a
be
good point.
I think it'd also be in context if your boyfriend kidnapped you and then touched your boob.
But actually,
That's
this is a very good point, and I think it bears mentioning that yes, dear audience, it needs to be reminded to you that Origami is Shido's girlfriend, and is in fact his only girlfriend technically, because she's the only person with whom Shido actually did like we are dating now, we are together spiel. So they are together technically, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and Shido only considers to go to her house to check up on her after several days have passed. After
No, it's-
he's
no,
told
it's-
No,
his
no,
transfer.
only
it's
after he
that
learns
day.
that she might move out.
Yes,
No,
England.
and
yeah, no. He goes to check up on her the day that she learns that she left for England.
yeah,
To be fair, moving to England it's very worrying.
Scary.
yeah. It would worry me too. I would have to say that if I found that like if I had a boyfriend and that there was a problem with my boyfriend, I would like check up on the situation earlier. But if I was told that even like a distant relative of mine or a colleague from work was transferring to England, I would also check up on them immediately. So you know that
Yeah.
tracks.
It is England. It's basically hell.
It's yeah. It's a terrible place.
You
So,
can confirm, Eminem. What the hell is that?
as opposed to America, that's actual hell.
but okay.
When you went to hell, it was actually just a lot of recreations of England, both the sky red.
Before we move on, I need to ask one important question, and I want us to maybe stay on this for a little bit. Does Shido actually like origami?
Yes.
Yes,
What's your evidence of that?
the light novel says so.
Okay.
He also cares, like he clearly cares about her. Whether it's like romantically, it's another thing. But he does.
That's
care.
what I'm thinking. He cares about her, yes, but he seems to care about her to the same extent he cares about literally anybody who is like in arm's reach of him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, and like so there from what I see I don't see any like actual special connection between origami and Shido. Okay, maybe
I mean,
this is
they
gonna
are
be
childhood friends also.
No, they aren't.
Wait, they're not.
no,
I thought- Okay.
no.
No, they met in high school.
Oh, okay. But there is. We do. Okay. Let's keep going because that's relevant later. Their connection.
Yeah. Oh, the origami, it just like I don't understand. I don't see any kind of a special connection between the two. I can see the special connection between Shido and Toka. between Shido and Kotori, yeah, sure. I mean, they are brother and sister, so it's a little bit weird to disassociate which part of it is just brotherly and sisterly love and which part of it is like actual attraction. But like,
I think the author would like to remind you that they're stepbrother and stepsister.
whatever. But my point is that like I can see the
Doesn't make
connection.
it better.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
it
I
slightly
know.
better.
I know. I
Slightly.
just, that's a joke. The author would like to
I
remind you of that.
I can see the connection between Shido and a lot of different characters. I don't understand. The connection between Shido and Origami seems completely one-sided.
Well, romantically, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of weird. But like
Why?
this arc, because for one thing, Origami is the most like outwardly sexual character, right? For another thing, like Origami and Shido, like before all of this happened, before Spirit started to be a thing, Shido and Origami had like the most time that they spent together. And Origami has been like stalking Shido for the longest. So for him to have like no emotional connection, like no romantic connection to this girl, is kind of weird at this point.
They're
Well, he doesn't have
sticking.
any romantic connection with anybody except maybe Toka, but that's just because, like, uh,
No,
they
that's
have
actually
like the
interesting. Wait, I'm gonna
princess.
say my evidence was the light novel say so, but the light
Mhm.
novel she'll say like I love these people, but then like every other line of dialogue of inner monologue does not back up that sentence. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you say like I like them, but it sounds a lot more like he's worried about them exploding. Like I feel like he's convincing himself he likes these people more than he actually likes them. You know what I mean?
I don't think that the light novel is sneaky enough to actually go in that way, but sure, if you say so.